This woman thinks she's high value, but her hobbies don't add up.
I think I asked, you said he was not a high-value man, but you're a high-value woman.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you a high-value woman?
I'm focused on my education. That's something I value. I focus on exercising. I'm nurturing, kind, loving, respectful. I'm a great sister. I'm very involved in my family. I'm religious to an extent. I don't just sleep around with whoever. I'm very selective about that. I'm careful about who I surround myself with. I don't go out often. I don't really smoke anything anymore at all. Like, I had that time period of...
When's the last time you talking about weed?
Yeah, and nicotine.
When's the last time you smoked weed?
Probably like a month ago, and I don't do it very often, is what I'm saying.
When's the last time you smoked nicotine?
Like a month, too.
I mean, that's not a very long track record.
But I'm also 20 years old, so you know what I mean? Like,
your age, I mean, I don't think your age is...
No, I'm just talking about, like, you know, a high-value woman is not going to be like a 16-year-old girl. Like, I'm on the path to get there, and some of my characteristics embody that, and I want to continue working towards that because I think...
Do you party on the weekends?
I haven't been lately. The only time I'm going to be partying this month is like after finals.
When's the last time you went out and partied on the weekend?
During Thanksgiving. That's different if it's holidays, but like most people here in Santa Barbara have to go out like once a week.
So
but I haven't been.
Thanksgiving was 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. And I just went out because that was like a holiday and everyone was back from home. Before that
Halloween and then...
Yeah, stuff like that.
And then what about before that?
Well, I don't really remember. But it was not often.
Because you were blacked out drunk?
No, it just hasn't been that often, but I think...
High-value women don't go out to bars and clubs and parties and get shit-faced and drunk and tanked, but it's not clear to me if you do, but...
That's why I'm saying, like, I'm not trying to as much, and when I do it, it's kind of to celebrate with my friends, like, we finished the quarter, just to go out with, like, my girls. It's very interesting because men always think that women go out to go sleep with like men, but the thing is that's some great projection. And I recently talked to some guy friends and we were just having conversations like this, trying to educate each other, and they were saying 9 times out of 10 when a man goes out, he goes out with an intention of ultimately sleeping with a woman that night. But I was talking about when us women do, I'm sure some of us do it with the intention of sleeping with a man. But a lot of the time we're doing it just to celebrate, have fun, like be a girl, literally just dance with our friends and make fun, heartfelt memories. I'm not saying some don't go out with that intention of sleeping with someone, but the intentions, the majority of the time, don't line up.
I'm curious, and Q, I think you probably have something to weigh in on that, but if you're just trying to have fun, why not just have a night in with your female friends, put on some music, get some alcohol, and drink in your house? Why the need to go to very specific social gathering venues where the drinks are really expensive, people are drunk and obnoxious, there's strangers there, it's sometimes unsafe, it's sometimes dangerous, the music is perhaps too loud, that you don't get to pick the music that you want. I'm just curious, like, what is the purpose of going to, say, a bar or a nightclub or a party?
I think Courtney has something to say before I do.
Well, because it's like a big playground. Everyone's drunk, running around, stupid. It's fun. It's not always the intention of hooking up with someone, and it doesn't have to be, but some people have that intention, that's okay.
And I think
you guys can dance around it all you want.
Like, it's kind of the atmosphere,
you guys can dance around it all you want, but the reality is, like, people go to these very specific social gatherings for the potential opportunity of meeting a new person.
Some people.
I think
you can
sometimes
women like to dance around this, but the reality is, like, you're going out and like you want to meet a guy at these parties.
No.
Yes, you do.
It's not all the time.
Not always. Sometimes you're in the mood.
For example, we go out.
Then why not just stay in? I don't get it.
Well, because
Explain
the atmosphere.
Can you?
The lights.
No,
the lights.
The loudness.
Oh, like, the lights. There's fun.
Yeah, the dark. Like, it's fun.
What's fun?
And you can't always have that loud of music in your house.
Go to your girlfriend's house.
Brian.
Turn the lights off. Get a laser pointer. Chase it around the ground like a fucking cat.
When we go out together and like the places we go out to, we don't pay for drinks because we
You
have
don't.
like
It's
connections and we have promoters.
Female privilege.
Yes, it's female privilege, and you're fucking
least I can do.
projecting because you're mad that you're not a woman.
And
you're
that's
mad that
okay.
you
No,
have
I'm not
expensive
mad.
heartstrings.
I don't go to. I
We
don't
are
like.
treated
I
like
don't go to.
princesses where we go, and we are
That's very
respected.
privileged,
People
female
don't
privilege.
look at us. Maybe they want to sleep with us, but they don't act like that. They respect us and they treat us like princesses.
Really,
And
the guys
we
respect you at Isla Vista parties.
They're professional.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's not in Isla Vista. This
Oh,
isn't. I'm
excuse me.
talking
You go
about,
to
like,
the upscale, luxurious Santa Barbara college parties.
No. We drive. We go places. We go to
We
like
do. We have our
West
places.
Hollywood in LA.
Oh, you guys have fake IDs.
We sure do.
The age of entry for establishments that serve alcohol is 21. You guys are 20 and 20. Okay, so you have fake IDs. Cool.
I mean, isn't that known? Like, isn't that like a
Yeah, it's
obvious
common, but-
thing? Like,
I
It's
mean,
okay. We're gonna be 21 in
doesn't?
2 months. It's
Yeah.
fine.
whatever. I don't care.
Nikki,
What
what
do
do
you-
you bring to the table though? Because you say you're like a high value woman and things like that, and what
Yes.
makes you a high value woman, you're
Yes.
going towards your education, you're religious, you're focusing on your fitness, but like that's such basic shit that any woman could do.
I'd point
So-
out you mentioned like you're pursuing
I
your
don't
education.
think it's such basic shit that any woman can do. To be honest,
to
I
go
think
to college.
it takes.
That's like the most basic thing.
Like go to
anybody
college,
can do.
go to the
But
gym,
do you
be
have, like-
religious.
We've like subsidized people that shouldn't be going to college, but okay. No, I'm not speaking about you. I'm just saying like there's a large cohort of people. That's why college prices are so expensive, because the government is basically co-signing on these irresponsible 18-year-olds taking out 5 to 6 figures of student loans that they have no chance of repaying when they're pursuing their feminist studies and bullshit with other degrees.
Do you
Anyway,
have
sorry, I'm
like life
not a fan of
experience? Do you know
college.
how to change a tire?
No, I don't know how to change a tire, but that's where men and women differ.
So if you get stranded on the side of the road, you're not going to be able to change your tire.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
so does that
And
mean
that's
she's a
something-
low value person?
No, I'm just
like
saying
that doesn't
there's
define
a lot
anyone.
of like more
But I
things
think
that you
that's
can
why
learn
it's
to
important
grow
for there
on.
to be like a great line between feminine and masculine roles. I'm a woman. Like I'm not. So all those things that you're saying, like yes, those are like feminine traits that make a high value woman. Changing a tire isn't one of those because I need like a man to do that.
Maybe to you. Some guys might think a chick changing the tire is hot as shit.
yeah.
Wait,
Exactly.
Q, did you have something on the whole club
Yeah,
bar
feminine
party
man.
thing?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was
Feminine.
gonna say. It's essentially for validation. That's what it is. Everything else is rationalizations. It's essentially for validation. When you said the free drinks, it's the acknowledgement, it's the rewards, it's guys basically seeing you being seen, you being given things to, free gifts. It's the opportunity to be in an atmosphere where you feel like you're valued, you mean something. And what comes out of that often is, if it's a club with a VIP section, if there's guys in there who are high status, they the top guys, you get invited into their VIP section, you get special acknowledgement, you get special privilege. You're essentially advertising yourself. That's what you're doing. Whether you want to agree with it or not, whether you believe it or not, you are essentially putting yourself in a dating scene, because that's why men go to clubs. That's why men party. They know women are going to be there. That's why y'all get in free. That's an offering to the men. It's like, you guys show up, you guys got to pay what you got to pay, but the ladies that y'all are going to essentially be able to choose from, especially if you're a guy with money, you got a club section, you VIP, these are the women that we're bringing. So we bring women in free, y'all pick the women that y'all want to choose from. And that's essentially what it is. It's an advertisement, it's an opportunity for validation, and it's essentially being you served to men on a platter if they want that from you. That's
Yes,
essentially what it
I
boils
You
down
don't just, and one thing, and I'll let you respond to him. You say that you don't party a lot, but you have found it necessary to get a fake ID so that you can party?
But I told you I'm still young, so I'm still working towards
But like
that. And
you
this
said,
is
you don't
something-
party a lot.
But that's something
like,
I recently started doing
why
the
the
past
need-
months. I had that since the end of my senior year of high school, Brian.
So you've been partying.
I'm a junior at UCSB. I went through
That's
those
fine.
phases, but in any point in anyone's life, you're constantly being educated on new things. So I'm constantly growing as a person, and I'm gonna be learning more and more as I go. And that's something I've recently started to value. You know, everyone kind of goes crazy like their freshman year of college, for example, I think, or at some point or another. So that's at the point I am.
Well,
with
let
my
me just
life. Yeah.
And I know you wanted to respond to Q.
Oh,
I would
yes,
just
I
say,
do.
like, gentlemen, do not date current or former party girls, girls who go to bars, clubs, etc. That's it. That's all I had to say.
Gentlemen, I want you to know that women and men have different intentions when it comes to that. And
Doesn't matter.
I understand what you're saying, because those are men's intentions and that's why they want the girls there, because those are their hopes. But that doesn't mean the women will necessarily uphold those hopes and intentions of the men to go out.
No, it doesn't.
We're very different. So there are going to be some girls that go out and do have those intentions, like I was saying, and some men that will get those wishes fulfilled. But then there are those women that aren't going to advertise themselves or end up sleeping with those guys.
Well, just by virtue of you being in the club is advertising. Just by virtue of you posting photos on Instagram, that is advertising. Men, have you ever approached a guy?
Rarely.
Rarely.
Yes.
How often have you been approached?
I think you asked this in the last podcast, but I said it was like 90% them, like 10% me.
But like when you go out,
approaching
like
them.
you get approached a lot, right? See, this is
Yes.
I mean, this is a difference between men and women, is that
So every time you go out, you're putting yourself in an environment to be approached, especially if it's a bar or a club.
But we could control how we react.
You can,
And
you can,
honestly-
but you can, but
honestly, bar or club, us women will be on the street wearing sweats, no makeup, hair up. We'll still get approached. And again, this
Sure.
is a
It's
fundamental
inevitable.
difference between men and women, and it's about how we react.
well, I don't,
And just because we want to put ourselves in an environment while you're young, I'll literally call my mom and ask her, like, should I go out, Mom? Because I'll still sometimes be like, but I like want to celebrate. And she's like, you should, because one day you're gonna have children and like you're gonna have to watch them, and you won't be able to like be young and have fun, like run free and like dance with your friends. Like, she's not like, yeah, like go sleep with some guy. Like, no, it's not like that. It's kind of about also like preserving your youth, because all of these things become intangible one day, you know?
I mean, you can, if you were so inclined, a 50-year-old could go to some fucking 21-year-old hotspot if she wanted to, I guess. But I mean, also I would actually argue it's, if you're trying to preserve your youth, actually staying out late, drinking, partying, doing drugs, smoking, being in these stressful, chaotic environments actually could contribute more to you aging than not engaging in them.
You only live once.
But like you drinking your soda could also contribute to you aging.
Is
All
that a
that
whataboutism?
sugary.
I mean,
It's like affecting
this is,
your immune system.
I mean, this is like a
And your
secret
body.
juice. It's not, first off, I'm not drinking soda.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm drinking
But
like
a lot could be said about different things, you know what I mean? Like that
Sure.
argument could be said for so many different topics.
Okay, but I was specifically
and
addressing
things.
your argument about preserving your youth by going out to bars and nightclubs. Look, the difference is that men and women are different in how they run game, so to speak. So I'm going to credit, there's this Twitter thread that I've referenced before from LDG. I want to give them credit, of course. So women don't approach men. They put themselves in positions where they could be approached by men, like clubs, for example. They're not going to DM a guy, but they'll post pictures to lure men into DMing them, for example, on Instagram. Men are salesmen, women are marketers. So the difference, like most guys are just too naive and lack the capacity to be able to identify this distinction. So in a committed relationship, I think that men should stop pitching and women should stop advertising. So I think it's the case that like, oh, well, you know, as long as I'm not directly attempting to like approach a guy, that's fine. Or if I turn down guys at bars, that's fine. But women were never initiating conversations with men. Women were never initiating conversations with men to begin with. Like, we use different strategies to get similar outcomes. So it's just totally different.
And behaviorally, I get the distinction that y'all making between, like, guys say, I want to get laid tonight, so I'm gonna go out, or the goal is to get laid. You don't say that. You and your girls don't say that. Like, oh, let's go get laid tonight. Y'all don't say that shit. But what I'm saying is, if your intent is not to get laid, that doesn't mean you're not going to get laid. That doesn't mean you're not going to get to the club and see a cute guy, and the cute guy is going to approach you, and your girlfriend's going to say, oh, you know, well, we'll let you go back home with him, or whatever the case may be. A lot of the time, this shit happens. So on the outside looking in, it's easy to say, yeah, that's not our intention. But what we see actually happening in reality is this is what actually happened. Women go out, they end up getting fucked. It's
me and my friends.
But I don't want you to personalize it. But the point is, this happens, and it happens often. It happens all the time. It's going to happen tonight, everywhere.
That's part of being young.
I think that's also.
But that's what we're saying.
But that's also your perception, because those are the experiences you've had and the women you surround yourself with. I'm sure you're a guy that goes out and gets laid. So you assume that like all women go out and get.
I don't
laid
party.
Like that.
I don't party your club.
Like I said, also.
Good for you.
Again, this.
You've never had a one night stand?
Of course I have. Like my freshman year of college, and I'm constantly growing, like I'm saying, and I'm not trying to do that. So that wasn't also my intention when I would go out. It's exactly what you said. Like pretty much, I like found some people cute, and I ended up sleeping with them. But again, there's that self-control aspect, and you live and you learn. But please hold on, I'm not finished.
Go
with
ahead.
My point.
Finish your point.
So I also know this distinguish between women when they go out and men when they go out. So I'm not, and I'm also like celibate right now, but I'm not gonna
You've
go
been
out
celibate
and,
for a month, by the way.
Okay, I was celibate for 9 months before, and honestly, it works wonders, because as a woman, I feel like it de-blinds you, and it really helps you see.
I'll take your word for it. I just want to say one thing to that. A lot of I want to make. Let me just make one point, and then I'll let you come in. Gentlemen watching, I'm not doubting what she's saying. It may very well be true. I'll take her word for it. I do want to let you guys know, a lot of women come on the show and say, my body count is this, I haven't hooked up with a guy recently, I'm celibate, blah, blah, blah. Cameras turn off, we talk behind the scenes, and they admit, my body count is actually 3 times, 4 times. They'll say, oh, I was 5. And then behind the scenes, I'm not saying you, they'll tell us the truth. Oh, they said they're single, they actually have a boyfriend. They said they're celibate, they fucked last night. So I'm not saying it's the case for hair, but you guys should take things with a grain of salt when people say certain things. So, yeah.
Okay. Not me, but other people. Anyways.
Okay.
So that distinction I'm making, that makes me knowledgeable about the kind of guys that are in clubs. So I'm not going to want to seek out a partner in a club knowing that the majority of men go for those reasons. That's not really like... Yeah,
Loose Pussy Energy donated $200. Fucking cap. These 304s cannot stop capping. Get the fuck out. Stop the damn cap with all that bullshit. Yeah, I said it. Do some. Hashtag Nick Paul's cap lol. Hashtag fuck your rats. Hashtag get the rocks. Hashtag I want the smoke.
Do you want to respond to him?
Respectfully, I don't know who hurt you, but go to therapy.
Who hurt you, loose pussy energy?
Like, no, like go to therapy. Like, I don't know what woman hurt you, but not all of us are like that. And
who hurt you?
Anyways, do some introspection healing.
Do it.
But yeah, so that's basically the type of point I'm trying to make is I don't go there to seek out a partner, because I know like the men out in the clubs are there because they want to like sleep with the women at the club. And
you wouldn't date a guy who goes out to bars or clubs?
Maybe, because like I said, the majority, but then there's always like those outliers in any situation.
So do you think you're the outlier of the girls that go to clubs?
No, I think the majority of girls do actually go out to have fun, and that's what I'm saying. That's that distinction. The majority of men go out to like hook up. But not everyone's the same, and I feel like the outliers in the female population do go to like sleep with men and like seek out men. Not necessarily in a college environment, I just mean in a broad context. Because in college, I feel like people are in this independent era of their lives, and they kind of go crazy at first, and they do have a lot of fun with that. So
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If you, let's say you found a high value man, and would you continue going to the clubs with your friends?
That would be a conversation for him and I, because I could respect if a man has some trauma or like trust issues, or if he views that in a certain way, then like I would probably stop. But I wouldn't respect him saying like, well, I would still want to go out. That would have to be a conversation we would have, but I would still want to like go out with him. If he doesn't let me go out with my friends, I would be like, okay, well, what if you come with us? Or like, you bring your friends, I bring my friends.
What if he says he just doesn't go to bars and clubs and he doesn't want to go out with you guys?
Well, like I said, that would be a conversation him and I would have to have and openly communicate.
But see, you know that going to the clubs portrays a specific image of you then. So it's obviously a conversation you would have to have so you understand what going to the club
And also,
means.
why does him not wanting you to go to bars and clubs have to stem from him being like a past trauma or him being insecure? I assume that's what you said. You said, well, if he's got a past trauma and we had to have a conversation about it, what if he just didn't want you to go to bars and clubs?
Because I feel like any conception that anyone forms is based on past experiences. And I would think when like men think that what you guys think, you've had unpleasant experiences or you've had some girls that are just kind of like for the team and really do sleep around that go out. So then you form this conception that all women that go out are like that, if that makes sense. So it would have to be like a conversation. We would have to have like a mature, open conversation.
Well, okay. So, but it sounds to me like you would not be willing for your boyfriend, maybe even husband, to give up going to the club.
No, I would be.
Well, that's not
Wait,
what it
sorry,
sounded like.
Could you rephrase that? Sorry.
Well, okay. I asked you if your boyfriend said, hey, I don't want you going. Let's say you asked the guy for commitment and he said, I'm prepared to commit to you. However, I don't want you going to bars, clubs, and parties anymore.
I would have to ask if he's going to be going to them too.
Let's say no.
Then no. I would think that like the relationship is more important than that.
Okay. All right.
Like that's actually one of the most beautiful things in human life is any social relationships we have, friendships or romantic. So I'd be totally willing to sacrifice going out as long as he is too for our relationship, because I would value that more than going out.
Wait,
like if I was dying tomorrow, like I would pick like the relationship over going out.
I left the relationship because of that, and I was so miserable. I hated it. Like I felt like I was like like obeying him, and like because he didn't want me to go out, so I was like not going out also. But there was like something that I just like was not happy about that. Like I would like see my friends like going out, and like they were in relationships also, but like they were having fun with their partners and stuff like that. And I just, you're so young. Like I feel like if you want to go out, you should want to go out. Don't just like accept like, oh, because he's saying like, you know, don't go out or whatever. Then
here, question for the whole table. Do you guys think a guy not wanting his girlfriend to go to bars, clubs, parties, do you think that's insecurity? Do you think that's him being controlling?
Yes, very controlling.
I think it is insecure and controlling, but again, that's something that needs to be communicated, and there's a reason why a man holds those insecurities.
So
like, again,
what
it's
you
from
call,
experiences in
what
the
you
past.
guys might call insecure or controlling, I call having standards and boundaries.
But then why are you attacking her when she was trying to like make her statement that
attacking her.
she's
Yeah, no attack.
that she's a high value woman?
I didn't
like
use that
her-
as a cudgel to attack her. I was asking how she's a high value woman.
If she was high value, she would respect her husband or boyfriend or whatever telling her that he doesn't want to go to the clubs.
Hold on.
High Value Man donated $200.
Oh man, these
She's
guys are
about
after
as high
smarts,
value
right?
as a used gum wrapper. Rat girl is weird, but fine as F. I bet we all know the answer, but let's have them rate themselves 1 to 10.
Wait, what? I bet we all know answers, but let's have them rate themselves 1 to 10. Here, high value man.
Wait, first of
I
all-
want to finish off. We'll get to that. We'll get to the 1 to 10 question. Stifler has it ready for us. We'll come back to that. Okay. Thank you, man.
Also, I just want to say that I don't know why you titled yourself as high value man. He wouldn't be sitting behind his phone screen typing right now. Negativity.
Have you ever
Anyways.
watched the Kardashians?
No, I haven't.
You've never watched
No.
any reality TV?
No.
Have
I
you ever
haven't.
doom scrolled on TikTok for 2 hours
When I was younger, yeah.
when you were younger?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you do for
I watch like videos that educate myself
on what?
on like life, on everything.
Okay.
On the conversations we're having.
So
how to make money, like how to invest, like how to have good relationships, how to like love yourself. I'd rather spend my time watching educational self-improvement content like that, and also balancing it out.
this is a highly educational conversation we're having right now.
Low-key, it is. Yeah. I'd rather spend
Thank
my
you,
time
High Value
watching
Man.
videos
I
like
appreciate
that,
you.
yeah.
Did you? So you guys were saying it's insecure, I guess.
What do you guys think?
Oh, hold on. We'll go around.
Butler donated $200.
Is it about herpes? Is he going to mention herpes? Yep, he mentioned herpes.
Clubs all have genital herpes. I can smell your rancid lady parts from here.
Whoa, let's
and
be
I'm
nice,
actually
okay? Let's be
concerned
nice.
for the health and
All
safety
right.
for the people in that room.
Is herpes? I don't think herpes is.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
What is wrong with going to the club? What is wrong for a woman to go to the club? I'm genuinely curious to know.
And is it going to clubs, bars, and like parties specifically, or is it just going out with the girls?
What's the difference? What do you mean going out with the girls?
Going out with the girls, like, are they going to be like, oh, I just don't want you going out with the girls in general, which can range from literally getting our nails done, going to the movies, like just having fun?
That's fine. That's fine. These are the just very specific social scenarios where there's almost going to be an expectation that you get approached. Look, I get it. You girls might get hit on your way to Trader Joe's. You're looking frumpy and you're wearing sweatpants. I get that happens. I'm not saying don't go to Trader Joe's, but these are very, very specific social gathering venues.
They're high-risk environments.
Yeah, and also, I mean, there's a whole bunch of concerns like, okay.
Stuff getting put in the drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Guys constantly approaching you all night. And we talking about from the context of you're in a relationship. If you're in a relationship, that puts a man, it uneases us, because you go out, whether you with your girlfriends, doing whatever, having fun, you have no intentions of getting laid or anything like that, cheating, those things can still happen. Things that I can't say can still happen. And then if I told you I don't want you doing that, and one of those things happens to transpire, how are you going to explain that to me? How are you going to tell me that I told you so, and this is the reason that I told you I didn't want you to do this, or I wasn't what's the word I'm looking for? Fuck, I forgot the word. I didn't want you to do it, basically. If I told you I didn't want you to do it and you do it and something happens that comes back and puts our relationship in jeopardy, how are you going to reconcile with me and that relationship? And that's essentially what it's about. It's minimizing the risk that anything harmful that could happen to you or our relationship, that's what it is. It's mitigating that risk. Because women like to do things and believe they're in full control. This is not going to happen.
Beaten Cheeks donated $200. My girl goes out all the time, drinks, even hooks up with guys at times, but very secure in my woman, at least washing off after her hookups. She even does of. I am super secure in my future. You, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Beaten Cheeks. Appreciate it, man. Good to see you in the chat, dude. Good to see you. Did you want to continue on?
Yeah. I'm saying we have these conversations and we never look at the realities of what actually can happen, the possibilities, the probabilities. We have conversations in general. We say, oh, we don't like this, we don't like that, or this is insecure, this is that. But the reality is these things happen. They transpire all the time. There are guys who they let their girlfriends go to clubs. They get cheated on. Their girlfriends get, I can't say drugged.
Yeah. They know what you're saying.
Okay, yeah. That happens. They might get taken into a bathroom. It's just mitigating risk. That's what it is. And as women think, oh, this is not going to happen to me. I'm in full control. But the reality is women don't know what the fuck is going to happen. Y'all have no idea what's going to happen when y'all put yourselves in these situations. Just like you said, and I'm not picking on you, but you said, yeah, I went to the club, you had the one night stand or whatever. Yeah, I met a guy, this, that, and the third. Y'all can't predict what's going to happen. And that's just the thing. So it's better to avoid the risk altogether simply because you can't predict what's going to happen. And that's essentially what it is to us. We're territorial. We're protective. We don't want that to happen to you. Even if you think that never could, the possibility still exists. And we're just trying to avoid that possibility. You can call it insecurity if you want. We call it territorial. We call it being protective. We call it being a leader.
As long as you voice that, I don't think it should be an issue, if that makes sense.
Did you have something?
I was going to say, it could happen anywhere. I mean, to be completely fair, differentiating from what area you live in to everything.
We're not saying it. We're not saying that though.
Yeah, but I feel like even in those places specifically, why not go together? Like, why not make sure she's safe? Why not have fun with her? Why not?
That's a whole
go
other thing.
Hang out.
I don't know what your views are on going out with your girl, but I think I just think going out in general, and perhaps I'm a bit risk averse in this sense. Going out to these environments in general is dangerous to begin with. Like, you've been out to parties in IV, right? How many fights do you see when you go out and party in IV? Every single fucking night, right?
Probably.
Some dude, fucking brain damage. Some 19-year-old kid smacked his head on the concrete, brain damage rest of his life. It's not worth it. And like the thing is, when you go out with your girl, especially if your girl is not like, some girls might have a loud mouth, right? Let me ask you guys a question. If you were out with your guy and some guy like walked by and said some shit to you, would you want your man to like defend you, intervene on your behalf?
No, because it doesn't matter. What does it matter?
But I was just about to say. I said I don't party your club when I'm 30 now. When I was 20, I went to a club. When I was 21, I went to a club with my girlfriend at the time, and I don't like those environments. I told her I didn't want to go, but it was her birthday, and her older sister was like, "We going? I got her." You know what I'm saying? We all gonna go together. It was me, her sister, her male cousin. And just for example, I hated it. I did not want to be there. I didn't like the environment. She got drunk. It was her birthday. She got a little too drunk. And when she was coming back from the bathroom, she bumped into a guy accidentally. He goes, "Watch where you're going, bitch." Like that. So what do you think I have to do now? Now I got to step in because you disrespected my woman. She can't help herself. She tried to catch herself. She couldn't help. Her sister was supposed to help her, but her sister was going to help her because she went to the bathroom with her. But she stumbled and hit him. He was like, "Watch where you going, bitch." So now I got to step in. So now there's a conflict in the club that I have to defend that I shouldn't have to because I didn't want to go to begin with, but I tried to be understanding. And that's what Brian means by risk averse too. It's a risky environment, not only for things regarding y'all, drinks, drugs, all of that stuff, but conflict.
I understand all of this, and I feel like it's all pointing fingers towards the root issue at hand, which is alcohol, which makes people out of control. That's why I think it was really cool how you said you haven't been drinking for so many days, because our society has normalized it.
34, but during my celibacy I was also like not drinking either. I do it like periodically. Because
see what kind of issues like we run into, like your girlfriend couldn't control herself, she stumbled upon someone, people cheat on their partners.
That's the other thing.
Men get into fights. It does like make people more aggressive. It makes people have sex with people they didn't want to have sex with. So I feel like that's really the root issue at hand, and that's also why I don't want to be doing it as often. So I understand where you guys are coming from. That's why I think it's very different if like girls just like go out with their girlfriends to like a restaurant, for example, than in a club, because alcohol does pose a lot of issues. And that's why if I had
go get dinner. That's cool.
And if I had a significant partner right now, like I probably wouldn't want them to go out either, because then there's that risk of them cheating on you. So I actually value your point a lot. Actually, it really like opened my mind, and if I had a boyfriend right now, I probably wouldn't want him to go out, and I would respect him not wanting me to go out, because there are a lot of risks that would jeopardize the relationship or our safety, especially the safety of a woman.
And to add what Q was saying, so if you're a girl, especially if there's alcohol involved, if your girl's mouthy, like I've seen so many, you can find fight videos online. I've seen it in person, where a girl will mouth off to some dude. You can see this anywhere. You'll see it like in a NFL game in the stadium. I've seen videos of, there was this one video of this girl mouthing off to some dude, and then the dude who she was mouthing off to is like, okay, she's not a threat, but the boyfriend is. I'm gonna scorch the boyfriend, and he just fucking boom, clocks him. Cool, brain damage, good times. So it's a risky situation to be in, especially if you got like your girl's drinking, if she can be mouthy, and like, it's at risk, because a lot of women know that they can mouth off to a dude and they're not going to do anything. But if your boyfriend's in the picture, that guy who you're mouthing off to, he starts looking,
redirects his aggression to you.
Oh, okay, he's a potential threat. Boom, now you're in a fight, and that could be life-changing shit. People go to bars and clubs. They get drunk. They punch somebody. The guy hits his head on the concrete. Boom, murder. 20 years in prison. Or if you're on the receiving end of it, permanent. You fucking die. Brain damage. It's crazy. So it's just not worth it. And then, of course, like you was saying, like if you go out, like we as men, if you guys are looking at us to be protectors, that's us being like trying to protect you from risky situations. And we know that like the guys, like you guys said, the guys that go to these environments might not be the most respectable members of the community. Who knows what they might try to they might try to put something in your drink. They might try to
they're trying to get laid.
They might try to grab up on you. Like we don't want you in that position. That's us protecting you and wanting to protect the relationship. So
that's why communication is so important, because if you're just telling your partner, hey, I don't want you to go to a club, I don't want you to go to a party, and they're like, okay, why? Oh, just because I don't want you to go. If you're telling them like, oh, these are the risk factors that are going into it, I would understand more. But if you're just telling me no and you're like, I just don't want you to go, I'm gonna think you're being controlling and trying to stop me.
Yeah, and I get that. I understand that. A lot of y'all date idiots. Yeah, a lot of y'all date guys who can't articulate themselves. They don't know how to explain how they feel, and that's what you resort to. You believe, okay, this is coming from a place of insecurity. But when you have guys like me and Brian who know how to articulate ourselves, I can tell I'm a great leader in my relationships. I know how to tell my woman, I know how to express exactly to my woman why I don't want her to do something. And most of the time she'll understand. I say most of the time because sometimes y'all hard-headed and y'all stubborn. But most of the time she will understand. Okay, I can understand that. And to the guys out there watching, it's easier to just avoid women who enjoy doing things like she said, like you said, you felt trapped. Yeah, exactly.
But mine wasn't just clubs or bars. Like mine, I couldn't even go to like a trip with my girls to Hawaii. I wasn't allowed to go to any concerts. Like the weekend concert, like I remember specifically that I like wanted to go with like my girlfriends, and like he just like was like, no, you're not allowed to go do any of that because of the reason that you guys had spoken about.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's easier for the fellas out there. Y'all just date women or try to find women who value what you value, who y'all ride in the same circles, y'all have the same interests. Assortative mating is a thing, homogamy is a thing. Date somebody who values the same things you value in terms of activities and things that you can do, because there are women are entitled to do whatever the fuck they want to do. And as a guy, exercising good mate selection is understanding you have to eliminate those women from your dating pool. It's that simple.
Yeah, I agree, because we would always go out when we were first dating, so that kind of like twisted my mind. I was like, why was it okay in the beginning and now it's not? Like I got snatched of it. Right,
and I can understand that too with him switching up. That's another thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Good talk. Good talk. I would also argue though, like as a guy, you mentioned like, well, there needs to be communication about this. I would actually argue that a good woman, a high value woman, you actually don't need to tell her. She does this stuff automatically.
Oh, so you just want us to do what you say? You snap your fingers and we just do it?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Like you just know, like that's just how you're coming into the relationship.
Yeah, you lose interest in it essentially.
Like I shouldn't have to tell you to stop club. First off, I personally probably would not pursue a woman who even has a proclivity towards going out, because I don't really drink. I'll occasionally have like a beer, a glass of wine, rarely. I maybe have once every 3 months I'll have a glass of wine. I never been blacked out. I've got sick one time, and then after that I was like, okay, 1-2 drinks max, but I don't go out to bars, don't really drink. So
I'll give you ladies another example that speaks to Brian's point. The last relationship I was in at my college, I dated one of the women who was on the women's basketball team, and the women's basketball team, they like to go out and club and party. I mean, college women, they're always on the road. They play games. I went to a Division I university, so they were super busy. So whenever they got the opportunity, they went out. When we got in a relationship, she never wanted to go out with them anymore. Like she would just tell them, just go ahead. I didn't even have to say anything. I didn't have to tell her I was uncomfortable with it. I didn't have to express that. She voluntarily gave that up. And then what that turned into is, because she was one of the captains on the team, she said, well, why don't we just have girls' night in my room? Like, they would literally just set up beer pong in the room, and they would play beer pong. They would invite some of the men's team if they wanted to come over. They play beer pong. We play, what's the little game where you take the logs out?
Lincoln Logs?
Jenga. We play that. It was really simple. She altered the way that she heard fun for me, and the whole team followed behind that because she was a captain. But I didn't have to say anything because she already knew that was risky situations, and she respected me to the point to where I didn't have to communicate that to her. She just knew to do it.